All right then, Terry, so here we are with the third instalment of the ever-popular Expendables series. So I wondered if you could set the scene for us. What's going on with Hail Caesar and the Expendables at the beginning of this movie?
Wow. The boys are back in town. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but I think we find out a lot more backstory in this one. You know what I mean? It's usually like the movie starts with an explosion, ends with an explosion, and you don't really, you know a little bit more. I think you find out a lot more than you've ever found out. Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone had actually started the Expendables years earlier, which I thought was the coolest plot point ever. And it's just, now that, but they had a big falling out and the whole thing, and it's us versus him and his guys. So it's a cool, cool thing.
I wanted to ask you about Sylvester specifically. What is it about Sly that makes him such an iconic actor and a screenwriter in this case as well?
I mean, Sly loves the business. He knows what this thing is about, but he's also a force of nature. He does not take no. He's kind of like, if this was back in the 16th century, he'd be a general. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy who leads the charge, and he's just not. He's an alpha male.
And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger returns again for this third instalment. What's he like to work with? Does his vast experience in the action genre rub off on you guys? Do you learn stuff from him every day?
Yeah, I mean, you learn something from all these guys because, first of all, there are no more action stars. It's not that way. I mean, when you have TV has kind of blown up so big and movies have gotten smaller. And most of the time, it's the star of the movie is Godzilla, or the star of the movie is a superhero already, which they can interchange any kind of person with. It's not a lot of Arnolds and Slys and Mels, even Wesley. It's not. There are not a lot of people who are bigger than the movie title. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what you need, and especially in a movie like this.
You mentioned Wesley there and Mel, so there's a lot of new Expendables this time around. Harrison Ford as well in there, Antonio Banderas, some massive names. How closely do you get to work with these guys, and does it ever get intimidating with so many of them on set?
Yeah, you know what? I got really close to Wesley because Wesley was supposed to be in the first one. And the reason I have the role now is because he was not able to do it in the first one. So when we met up on set on the third, I came up to him and I said, "Man, I've been holding this spot warm for you for 2 movies." And I said, "All is right with the world now that you are here." And it does, and it is. It makes so much sense. Everybody's super excited because it does make sense. So I got to hang with Wesley. We got the dinner and the whole thing, and I just gleaned all kind of information from him. He's just, again, one of the biggest action stars of all time.
I wanted to ask you, I gather there's a new, younger set of mercenaries led by Kellen Lutz this time. You're out there to kind of rival the Expendables. What can you tell us about their involvement in the story?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't around to see a lot of what they were doing because they kind of had another part of the story. But, I'm really excited about the fact that they expanded it. And in order to keep the franchise going, I mean, there is sort of a realm of believability that leaves if the guys are getting too old, and you're like, did he really do that flip? I mean, can he really pick up that gun and do all that stuff? But the young guys can, and it really helps the authenticity and believability of the story to have much more younger action guys rolling around on the mountains and flipping off girders.
I was lucky enough to go to Sofia in Bulgaria, where you guys filmed Expendables 3. I know most of it. To do some interviews with Arnie and Sly, actually, for a different film. But I didn't get to go on the set, but I heard the set was absolutely incredible. Helicopters, explosions, all this kind of stuff. I wanted to ask you, first of all, what the atmosphere on the set was like, and second of all, how did Bulgaria treat you? Did you enjoy working there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the attitude on the set was awesome. It's funny because every set has its own personality, and Patrick Hughes, who's this young, vibrant Aussie, he came with it, man, and we really reinvigorated all of us. And Bulgaria it's like we've been there a lot. You know what I mean? We've done it a lot, and I think the whole country enjoys us being there, even though we blow up real buildings. We've blown up real bridges. We've blown up a lot of Bulgaria. I don't know. Somehow, I think it's somewhere in their bylaws that we can blow up anything we want when we get there.
Now, of course, you come from a sports background, originally an NFL player before turning to an actor. I wondered how much your inherent physicality from your time as a sportsman helps when you're filming stunts or films like action sequences.
Well, it helps because I'm impossible to double. That's the big thing. I mean, I had one double one time, that was like, he was literally 40 pounds, more than me. And I was like, okay, I can't have a chubby guy playing me. So I'm going to do this shot. I'm going to do this. So it's kind of weird. And you find that, a lot of my stuff was sleeveless. And you're like, anybody got arms like Terry Crews? No? Okay, I'll go back in, Right. And I had to learn how to drive a speedboat, like, instantly. They were like, they let me get like half an hour on it, and then all of a sudden I'm out on the Black Sea in a boat that I've never drove before, screaming around at 80 miles an hour. That was wild, very wild, and very risky. We almost bit it a couple times. It was crazy, but that's the thrill. You want to give people that thrill.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And finally, Terry, aside from the series' established mix of big names, huge action and witty one-liners, what can the audiences expect to see in the Expendables 3 that they might take them by surprise this time around?
Wow, I think it's a much deeper movie than you would expect. I think it's one of those things where you're gonna see and learn a little bit more. It's popcorn, but at the same time, you might catch a feeling or two. You know what I'm saying? I really, really think that it's Frozen for tough guys.
That's what we need, really, isn't it?
That's all I can say. What can I say?
Terry, pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.